Everyone was waiting for their flights. Nobody had noticed the black suitcase next to Gate 23. It had been sitting there unattended for 45 minutes. Retired EOD specialist Jack Turner's trained eyes caught three details: a thin wire peeking through the zipper, a faint chemical smell, and most importantly, an almost invisible bulge at the bottom of the case. 200 people were in danger, and nobody knew it. Welcome to Retired People Stories. Before we share this incredible tale of vigilance and heroism, let us know in the comments where you're watching from today. And if you believe retired heroes deserve to have their silent acts of courage remembered, hit that subscribe button and support our channel. Because some experts retire, but life-saving instincts never sleep. Thursday, March 15th, 11:15 a.m. Denver International Airport, Terminal C. Spring break was approaching and the airport was busier than usual. Families, business travelers, tourists, everyone trying to get somewhere. Colonel Jack Turner, 62 years old, retired explosive ordnance disposal specialist, 30 years in the U.S. Army. A lifetime spent with bombs and mines, improvised explosive devices, 6 tours in Iraq, 4 in Afghanistan. His hands still bore scars from an IED that detonated while he was trying to disarm it in Kandahar. His left ear heard at 40% capacity from a bomb that exploded too close in Fallujah. But now he was just Jack, a grandfather flying to see his granddaughter in Seattle. His wife Linda had passed 2 years ago. He traveled alone now. Sitting near Gate 23A, reading an old Tom Clancy novel. 15 minutes until the 11:30 flight. His coffee had gone cold, but he didn't mind. Then he saw it. A black Samsonite suitcase, medium-sized, hard plastic, right next to Gate 23, between the wall and the seating area. Unattended. A normal person would think someone forgot it, but Jack wasn't normal. For 30 years he'd seen normal-looking things kill people. He slowly lowered his book, started examining the suitcase from a distance without being obvious. First detail, the zipper. Not fully closed, a 2-millimeter gap, and through that gap a thin, almost invisible wire was protruding. Copper wire, the kind used for electrical circuits. Jack's pulse quickened, but his expression didn't change. Second detail, the smell. Very faint but there, a nitrate-based odor. ANFO maybe, or C4. A normal nose wouldn't catch it, but Jack's nose had been trained for 30 years to distinguish these smells. Third and most important detail, the bottom of the suitcase was slightly bulged, as if there was pressure inside. This usually meant only one thing: pressure trigger, set to explode if someone tried to open the case. Jack looked around. At least 200 people in the waiting area, children, babies, elderly. Gate 23 was going to Miami, full of vacationers. He checked his watch, 11:17. He evaluated his options. Alert airport security. Panic ensues, people get trampled, might trigger the device. Call 911, at least 10 minutes. Too late. Quietly evacuate people. Impossible, too crowded. Intervene himself. Risky, but the only realistic option. Jack took a deep breath, pulled out his phone, looked at Linda's photo. "Might see you soon," he murmured. Then he stood up. With slow, calm steps, he approached the suitcase. Nobody was watching him. An old man, maybe the owner of the luggage, they thought. He stopped 3 feet away, crouched down, pretended to tie his shoe. But his eyes were on the suitcase. Up close he could see more clearly. Where the wire exited the zipper, there was a small solder mark. Not professional work, but effective. A small hole on the side of the case, probably an antenna exit, remote-controlled. "Damn it," he whispered. Both timer and remote control. Whoever made this hadn't considered the possibility of failure. Jack stood up, looked around. Security cameras couldn't see the suitcase clearly. It was in a corner. Intentional placement. 11:19. They made the boarding announcement. Boarding for Flight 447 to Miami has begun. People started standing up, getting in line, getting closer to the suitcase. Jack made his decision. He pulled out his pocket knife, small Swiss Army knife. Airport security allowed blades under 2 inches. When nobody was looking, he sat down next to the suitcase. He looked like a tired old man. turned his back to people, blocked the suitcase with his body. He reached for the case, touched the wire, pulled gently. There was resistance. It was connected to something inside. "Okay, Jack," he talked to himself. "You did this for 30 years. One more time." He inserted the tip of the knife through the zipper gap, slowly, millimeter movements, trying to feel the interior, touched a hard surface, metal, probably the battery pack. Pushed a bit further, soft material, the explosive. And then, tick-tock sound. Mechanical clock. The timer. Sweat ran down Jack's forehead. Mechanical timer meant 1970s technology. Reliable but primitive, and usually very sensitive. Tick, tock, tick, tock. He counted the rhythm, once per second, normal clock speed. But how much time was left? A woman approached him. "Excuse me, is that your bag?" Jack looked up, smiled. "Yes, ma'am. Zipper's stuck trying to open it." The woman smiled and walked away. 11:21. Jack turned back to the suitcase. Now came the critical part. He had to disable the timer without triggering the remote. He pushed the knife further, along the wire, had to find a connection point, and he found it, a small screw, the screw connecting the wire to the timer. "Okay, soldier," he said to himself, "either be a hero or—" He started turning the screw, very slowly. Quarter turn, half turn, tick, tock, tick. The sound stopped. The timer had stopped, but the job wasn't done. The remote was still active, and the terrorist, whoever it was probably watching. Jack stood up, picked up the suitcase. Nobody found it strange. They thought it was his. He walked toward the restroom, the handicapped stall, large and empty. Went inside, locked the door, put the suitcase on the floor. Now the real work began. He opened the zipper completely. He was sure now there was no pressure trigger. When he saw the inside, his breath caught. 2 kilos of C4, professionally placed, full of nails and ball bearings, for maximum damage. The remote control receiver was visible. A simple cell phone circuit would explode when called. Jack took out his phone, put it on airplane mode. Even his own phone signal could trigger it. 11:24, boarding announcement from outside. Final call, Miami 447. He examined the explosive. The detonators were properly placed. Removing them equals explosion. But Jack noticed something. The maker was amateur. The main trigger wire was too long. If cut, the circuit would break. He placed his knife against the wire. "Linda," he said quietly, "if I'm coming to you, forgive me, but I have to save these people." He cut the wire. Nothing happened. Success. Jack took a deep breath. His hands started shaking. Adrenaline crash. He took his phone off airplane mode, called 911. 911, what's your emergency? Denver Airport, Terminal C. There's a disarmed bomb in the handicapped restroom. I'm a retired EOD specialist. Send the bomb squad. Don't panic anyone. Sir, your name? Colonel Jack Turner, retired. Army ID number 384-22-9845. Stay on the line. 5 minutes later, airport police arrived quietly. Professionally. No panic. They evacuated the restroom. The bomb squad arrived. A young EOD specialist, Sergeant Rodriguez, examined the bomb, then turned to Jack. Sir, this... Jesus Christ, how did you disarm this? You have no equipment. Jack shrugged. Pocket knife and 30 years experience. Sir, if this bomb had gone off, 200 people would be dead. I know. FBI agents arrived, questioned, statements, security cameras were reviewed. The person who left the suitcase was identified, had left it 3 hours ago and gone. Agent Sullivan turned to Jack. Colonel Turner, if you hadn't noticed this suitcase. Someone else would have noticed, Jack said. I doubt it. It passed normal security screening. Even the dogs didn't detect it. Vacuum sealed. So how did it get through? We're investigating. But how did you notice? Jack thought. In Afghanistan, there was a kid, 8 years old. They'd put a bomb in his school bag. I didn't notice. 12 children died. Since that day, I look at every unattended bag, suitcase. Paranoia, maybe. But today it worked. 11:58. Jack's flight had left. But he didn't care. He was sitting in the waiting area, answering FBI questions. A family approached. Mother, father, 2 kids. They would have been on the Miami flight. You saved us, the mother said, crying. Jack stood up. Just did my duty, ma'am. You're retired. It wasn't your duty. Some duties don't retire. The little girl, 6 years old, hugged Jack. Thank you, mister. Jack's eyes welled up. He thought of the children in Afghanistan, the ones he couldn't save. But today, he had saved them. The airport manager arrived. Colonel Turner, we can't thank you enough. Don't thank me. Increase security. This failed, but others will try. Would you be a consultant for our security team? Jack thought. Maybe, but first I need to see my granddaughter. The airport arranged first-class tickets for Jack on the next flight to Seattle. On the plane, the pilot announced, Ladies and gentlemen, we have someone special with us today. Colonel Jack Turner saved 200 lives this morning. Let's give him a round of applause. Passengers stood up, applauded. Jack was embarrassed, waved. The young man next to him asked, How did you do it? Jack looked out the window. I disarmed bombs for 30 years. Today I just disarmed one more. But you're retired. Yes, but hands don't forget, eyes don't go blind, and instincts don't die. When he arrived in Seattle, his granddaughter Lily was waiting at the airport, 8 years old, same age as the kid in Afghanistan. Grandpa, we saw you on the news. You're a hero. Jack patted his granddaughter's head. No, sweetie, I was just paying attention. My teacher said everyone should be brave like you. Not brave, Lily, prepared. That's the difference. That night at his daughter Sarah's house, Jack wrote in his journal, Today 200 people went home, had dinner with their families, kissed their children, continued their normal lives. They don't know what I did. They don't need to. For 30 years I disarmed bombs. I can't count how many I saved. Can't forget the ones I lost. But today, in my retirement, maybe I disarmed the most important bomb, because this time I wasn't on a battlefield. This time I was home, and victories won at home mean more. Linda, I wish you could have seen. The hands still work, the eyes still see, and the heart still wants to protect. I'm retired. I have no uniform, no equipment. But today, with a Swiss Army knife and 30 years of experience, I did my duty. And tomorrow? Tomorrow I'll be vigilant again. Because threats don't retire, and neither should protectors. The next day, the FBI called Jack. The bomber had been caught, lone wolf, psychiatric problems. But thanks to Jack's vigilance, his plan had failed. Denver Airport hung Jack's photo on their wall of honor. Underneath they wrote, Colonel Jack Turner, retired EOD specialist, saved 200 lives on March 15th. Heroes don't retire. Jack didn't go to see the photo. No need. He had just done his duty. But every time he went to an airport, he still looked at unattended luggage, suspicious packages, abnormal details, because once a bomb specialist, always a bomb specialist. And some skills exist to save lives, even in retirement. The truth is, across America, in every airport, train station, shopping mall, there are Jack Turners. Men and women who served, who protected, who spent decades keeping us safe. They don't wear uniforms anymore. They don't carry badges. They look like any other retiree. But their training remains. Their instincts stay sharp. Their eyes still see what others miss. Jack proved something that March morning in Denver. He proved that expertise doesn't expire, that vigilance doesn't have an age limit, that sometimes the difference between tragedy and safety is one trained person who happens to be in the right place. At 62, with arthritis in his fingers and reading glasses in his pocket, he was more valuable to Homeland Security than any high-tech scanner or detection system. Because he had something technology can't replicate, 3 decades of knowing what death looks like when it's trying to hide. 6 months later, Jack accepted a part-time position consulting for TSA. 2 days a month, he trained security personnel in behavioral detection and anomaly recognition. His first lesson became legendary. You can have all the technology in the world, X-rays, chemical sniffers, full-body scanners, but nothing beats a trained eye attached to an experienced brain. I'm 62 years old. My hands shake when I drink coffee. My hearing is shot, but I can still spot a bomb from across a terminal. Why? Because I don't just look, I see. And there's 30 years of ghosts teaching me what to see. A young TSA agent asked, "What if you'd been wrong? What if it was just forgotten luggage?" Jack replied, "Then I'd have carefully examined an innocent suitcase and apologized for the inconvenience. But I wasn't wrong. In 30 years of threat assessment, my instincts have never failed me when it mattered. And that day, when I saw that wire, smelled that chemical, noticed that bulge, I knew. Not thought, not suspected. Knew." Today, there's a small plaque at Gate 23 in Denver International Airport. Most people walk past it without noticing. It simply says, "On this spot, one man's vigilance saved 200 lives. Thank you, Colonel Turner. Always watching, always ready." Jack has seen it once. He didn't need to see it again. Because he knows the real memorial isn't a plaque. It's 200 people who got to live their lives, have birthdays, graduate from school, get married, have children of their own, all because one retired soldier never really stopped standing watch.